you're not just a leader, you're also like a mentor or a go-to person, and make them become the best version for themselves, and like try to help them and build a lot of trust.
Keep failures as it's the part of the way. Like, I mean, we always at Evoplay, we're trying to empower people to make mistakes, because without mistakes, it means there is no experiments.
One attempt is better than 10,000 experts' opinion.
Like the very first question that I have, could you please describe me more about your story in iGaming and your personal journey as a professional? What is like staying behind you, and what is the story behind you that you have to share with us?
First of all, maybe I would start just a bit before iGaming. My growing up from junior high and high school, I was in a big group of friends and a very strong connection. I'm very, very good friends with them still today. And when you're in a big group like that, you start to appreciate doing stuff with others. So I think like my joy of teamwork, it started around that. And also I'm quite, not to brag, but known to be a bit funny. And I think that's a result of being in a big group of friends and guys. Like, you had to be fast, you had to come up with the right comment to get people to laugh. If you were late, then someone else would take the joke. So, and I think that's also a bit of my kind of style with my team and the people I work with, and not only employees but also providers, vendors, and stuff like that. But my journey in iGaming started when I was in university. I did the mandatory service in Norway, and after that there was like 4 or 5 months until the next term in the university started. And I had some friends that started a betting exchange called Bet on Bet, working out of the UK, and they reached out to me and asked, "Hey, do you want to start working with betting?" And I've always had a really love for football, especially, but sports in general. Grew up with a sports-loving father. And it was a very small group of people, and a very small company, obviously, 5 guys at the moment. And there's like, okay, we need some support, a gaming support team. So, let's, that took the challenge. And so had to start like putting rock upon rock with something I knew very little about, and there was no big team around me to help me or guide me. There was no HR. There's like, you can be HR this week. It was like that. So, and in that process, it kind of learned, you have to learn how to use small resources and get them to work for you. And then understanding, I need to get people excited about this. When I'm getting a staff, we're going to run 24/7 customer support on very small resources. 365.
Were you as the tech guy or were you as the business guy?
Business guy. So I'm motivator, etc. So getting new guys excited about the project and getting them to,
This product is still working until today?
No, it was bought by another company in 2009. So so from 2004 to 2009, I was working I started out with the betting exchange, then we got poker, and then we got casino. And back then you didn't have the variety that we see here today at ICE. It's like insane. So I think we landed on having NetEnt. And then that was the only product you would have then. And in the back office of NetEnt, I remember there was this sound that they made ka-ching every time someone moved money into the casino wallet. But that sound, it was so similar to our chat program, which we used. So we had to change it. And one of the options were a gun sounds like boo, 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 boo. So every time someone moved money to the casino, it sounded like a war zone. But you kind of needed that back then because you had all of those chargebacks and stuff, which luckily isn't a thing anymore. Yeah, then EveryMatrix, Bet on Bet was bought. I moved to a completely different industry, the building merchants. Working for a company named Velux, which is the biggest window producer in the world, or at least it was at the time. And then for me to kind of go from that being like building everything myself to coming into a big company, everything structured, everything, you need that, call that guy, he will help you. And then, but what was very special in that company was I was by far the youngest. Everyone had been employed there for 15, 20 years. And especially sales guys, they were so knowledgeable. If there was something I couldn't figure out, I would call one of the sales guys because they knew every single screw. And they were so confident in what they did. And for me then to understand the importance of knowing what you're doing, to build that confidence in someone else, it is priceless. Yeah, so you kind of, I got both worlds. And then after 8 years working with roof windows, Stian Hornsletten, the co-founder of EveryMatrix, called me. I said, hey, we're signing a deal with Norsk Tipping. Do you want to come and work with me again? Because we had been working together in Bet on Bet. So I said, yeah, I want to do
Let's do that.
And
from the very first day in EveryMatrix, what was your position? CEO?
Then it was account manager.
Okay.
So I was following Norsk Tipping from the contract signing thing and moving them onto production. And then when I was doing the training, I had another guy here this first day, I remember, was training Norsk Tipping. And so then because we had the vendor management team, which a bit in a bad state, so to speak. It was dissolving. Had been a lot of internal problems. So they asked hey, do you want to take that team? And it was, one experienced vendor manager, two quite fresh. And I said, yeah, I would like that challenge. And so, I remember I started just before ICE. That must have been 2018. So I just jumped right into it. Yeah. And I mean, I had that experience from Bet on Bet times to kind of do things I wasn't that familiar with, also from roof windows, never knew. And I remember the first task was, okay, build a strong team. That's number one. That's very important. The second task was try to get 10 new vendors integrated to EveryMatrix CasinoEngine so we need to become competitive on that field as well. So I think we did 18 that first year, so above target, and I mean now we're steady 30 plus, and releasing 4,400 games a year. And
so you've been like one of the first account managers in EveryMatrix, I guess, no?
No, they were quite established at the account manager team, but I was kind of working with a state lottery was something quite new. And I think it forced EveryMatrix to get quite a lot of new processes and features in place to be allowed to serve a serious actor like Norsk Tipping.
I see.
And for me it was a great opportunity to work for. Being Norwegian myself, we have since you've grown up with the gambling monopoly, since I was like this big, delivering my pool betting slips every Wednesday, even if it was on Saturday when I was a kid. So they have some special place. So you take some pride in working with that account.
And what is your key principles and leadership style principle that you have inside your team and that you provide for your team as the leader? I mean, right now you have a huge team in EveryMatrix, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think first of all, it starts with you getting the knowledge yourself and getting experience and becoming confident with yourself. But also, of course, it's very important to communicate clearly what you expect from your team, what you expect for the team members. But just as important, it is what can I as a leader bring on the table for you guys. If you need this or you need that, what can I offer you, so that you build this kind of bridge that you're not just a leader, you're also like a mentor or a go-to person. And some people, this guy, he needs guidance, so I need to be there for him. This guy, he needs or girl needs the freedom to evolve and understanding this, how people work, to make them become the best version for themselves, and try to help them and build a lot of trust. I think also I have 3 kids myself, and sometimes you can compare it a bit with being a parent. Like if your kids make a mistake, when your kid makes a mistake, rather, it's important that they have that feeling that they can go to you and say, I messed up. Can you help me? And I think those kind of things are very important as well. Building that, that they know that they can trust you and that you have their back.
So you keep them open for failures and for mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see.
To a certain extent,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
I
But,
mean, yeah.
yeah, but everyone makes mistakes.
I heard one story of the girl, and it's like businesswoman right now, really successful, but I just don't remind myself the name. And she said that when she was a child, and she came at home after school, and father always talked, what was the fail of the day? Not
Okay.
was what was the victory of the day, but what was the failure of the day. And when it was no failures of the day, they didn't talk about day much because everything was good and so on. So after that, in like 30, 40 years, she said that, and right now I understand why he asked me this question, because he prepared me for failures in the future and not to be afraid by failures. Just
okay,
like keep failures as it's the part of the way, part of the path, and that's all. Like I mean, we always at Evoplay we're trying to empower people to make mistakes, because without mistakes it means there is no experiments. We're just making the same stuff, and like where is the growth in which which we're looking for always like.
Yeah. And there's a quote of this Danish kind of inventor, Wilhelm Conrad Rasmussen, which I often think about, which is he said once that one attempt is better than 10,000 experts or 1,000 experts' opinion. And I think, yes, that's a great, and of course you will fail if you do that attempt, but I really believe in that trying, failing, trying, succeeding.
Yep.
But try, just don't talk about stuff all the time.
That's right, yeah. And if you're talking about like yourself, what is your routine, or if you have any routine, like hidden routine from everyone else, but it's only for you, which is help you to feed yourself up with an energy and to keep you motivated during the whole your life?
Keep them hidden, because I brag about much my love for the passion for the forest, and that's
Forest.
the forest.
I
Yes.
see.
I walk in the forest at least 4 times a week. I think
Awesome.
that's where I get my sanity. And often when I can't let work, it interferes with my mind all the time. I go out in the forest.
And you're doing, sorry to interrupt you, you're doing it alone?
I do it alone,
Yeah,
yes.
awesome.
And then I go and I write emails in my head, and I write them in my head over and over till I found the solution, and then it goes away, and then I can relax and I can look at.
It's like the type of meditation for you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It clears my mind perfectly. But and I mean, motivation from team victories, seeing the results
Yeah.
you achieve. Of course, you get happy. I mean, your friend that would. What was her failures, but also when you talk to the team, what were our victories?
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And the energy you get from that team wins and team efforts, and yeah.
Do you have any like tradition inside your team when you achieve any huge success or something crazy on your mind right now? I see, you know.
Nothing crazy. We, as a lot of people do, we get drunk, and that's, that's it. But we have a very good relationship, and our team it's a very, very stable team.
So what keep people working in EveryMatrix for so long period of time? I mean, it's not only about money, let's be honest. Like, I mean, it's mostly about value that you have in the company.
I think it's in the EveryMatrix culture is very strong. It's about doing stuff also outside of work, and you get a lot of freedom in your work, work from home, or come up with suggestions. I will always listen if someone, hey, I have an idea, Amund. Can you listen? Of course. Here's 5 minutes.
Awesome.
And you can grow, and if you feel, I think you feel yourself growing, and yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. And you know, the last question is mostly like a tradition for all of the guests which I have, and I would like you to ask to share any quote or sentence which changed yourself or shift your mindset in some period of time of your life, and which is more interesting for me and for the audience. How did it impact yourself? Like, what was the story behind that?
Yeah, I have one. It's an anecdote more.
Anecdote.
So,
Awesome.
No, so this is something that happened back in, I think it was 2005, around 2005. I was working in Bet-on-Bet. We were in this building that was shared by several companies, and one of them was this printer shop, and it was run by this elderly guy. His name was Anundsen. That was his last name. I always had to talk to him with his last name. He referred to me with my first name. That was the kind of conversation. And this guy, Onelsen, every day he had a cigar outside of the entrance. He was standing there. So, and I was a smoker at the time. So sometimes when I had the energy, I was light my cigarette and stand and talk to Onelsen. But sometimes I would finish the cigarette before I came, or skip it if I wasn't in the mood, because it was 8 in the morning. Yeah? So I come there at 8 one morning, and I take up a cigarette. Hello, Onelsen. And he looks at me, and he had this way. When he held his cigar, he was talking to you like this. That it is, Amund, no one is indispensable. I was like, what are you talking about? What have I done? Not me, not you. No one is indispensable. And he told me this story. So back when he had built his printer shop, he had finally made it. Right? So he had gotten a lot of employees. Everything was going fine. He finally then took the time. Okay, I'll take some time off. I'll go on a holiday, 2 or 3 weeks. And back in those days, when you went on a holiday, you went off grid. There was no one that writing you on the type machines, right? They were offline. So he went on holiday, got back on his desk. Every single employee had resigned. They had decided, okay, we'll start our own company. And bye-bye, Onelsen. And he sat down and he just like, wow, everything's ruined. And then after he said I don't know, an hour or two, then he started, okay, I'll pick up the phone. I start calling my customers and I tell them what happened. I need to put out ads in the newspaper, get employees. And after a few months, I was back in business, and it just taught me that no one is indispensable. And I thought about that so many times when you have a star player in your team and he will leave or they will leave. And you start getting worried, but I think about what Onelsen said. No one is indispensable. And also I think about this in stuff at a provider, everything. As long as you build a solid ground, no one is indispensable. And also when I sit at home and I'm working late in the evening, sometimes you can get some hybrids, right? And what would the company do without me? But then I think, you're not indispensable. You just appreciate where you are, and you stay humble and do your job. And instead of getting into this bad circle of things. I think it's a sentence. I'm not sure, we're probably dead now, but Onelsen. But that he just used those words, and something I thought about.
I mean, you definitely don't want to think about it every day.
No,
no.
But when you get into this state of, if something happens and you get into this state of panic, everything can be sorted as long as you built a solid foundation for your house. And that's what I learned from him.
Awesome. Thanks for this conversation, Amund, and thanks for the shared experience of yourself here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Awesome.